Well, to talk more about this, I'm joined by Hussein Shobokshi from the Saudi city of Jeddah. He's a columnist at the newspaper Al Sharq Al Assad. Thank you very much for being on Al Jazeera, sir. First of all, before we go into the reasons why we're seeing deteriorating relations between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia, do the statements that are attributed to Prince Bandar, the intelligence chief, have the full backing of King Abdullah? Does this reflect the general mood right now in Saudi Arabia?
I would like to challenge if the reports that have been published are true or not, because they do for sure conflict with what we saw today in London during the meetings between John Kerry and Saud al-Faisal, both Secretary of State and the Foreign Minister of the Kingdom. They were cordial meeting. They were in full agreement. The communique that was released and the agreement that came out was synchronized between both parties. So I am not very much in favor of endorsing what has been said. It is merely speculation. There are, of course, issues on the table.
Right. Prince Bandar is the former ambassador to Washington. He served in Washington for a long time. He's now the intelligence chief. If he made such a comment, I mean, would that not reflect the overall mood in Saudi Arabia today?
The key word here is if he made that comment. He would not go on the record and say it, and I don't think we have heard that in the country. We know there are issues, particularly Syria and Iran, and to a great degree also Egypt, that the Saudis and the Americans don't necessarily see eye to eye, but there are open dialogues between both parties, and the issues are being discussed sometimes very frankly. But to call that situation a divorce in the making or a separation in the making, I think that's a slight exaggeration that is not called for.
When you say there are issues when it comes to Iran and the war in Syria, what particularly are the issues? What's the point of disagreement? What are the Saudis not happy about?
Well, you have been criticizing Iran for the longest time for meddling in the countries in the region. You have called it an axis of evil member. You have accused it of disturbing the peace in Lebanon, disturbing the peace in Iraq, and disturbing the peace in Syria. And all of a sudden, just because of the change of personnel in the presidency, you are switching gears and beginning a warm and friendly dialogue with the same country that has been the source of criticism for 30 years. For sure, you cannot market Iran as being the oasis of peace and democracy in the region, or the example or the icon that needs to be followed, because that is nonsense, because Iran is still a pariah state. It is a dictatorship. It's a false democracy, and it oppresses its citizens as well as its neighbors.
But again, do you see relations breaking between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. because of Iran? Can it be that we could see these relations further deteriorating? And this is a relationship that has lasted for many years, and it's a solid one. Who stands to lose most today if there was a break in this relationship, Saudi Arabia or the Americans?
Well, Saudi Arabia is an important, significant, and pivotal member of the Arab world, and obviously it has a very important status in the Islamic world. I don't think both countries can afford to break up from each other, as both are members of the G20 countries and the United Nations, the WTO. There's a lot of important relationships at stake between both countries. Yes, they don't see eye to eye in some issues, but this is not a novelty. They have done the same. They've had the same stance before with vis-a-vis the Israeli-Palestinian issue, with the invasion of Iraq. There have been many. September the 11th was a great acid test in the relationship between both countries. They have been going through tough situations in the past. I believe they will pass through this one as well. But some frankness and bluntness is required to discuss these issues on the table rather than behind closed doors.
Thank you very much for sharing your viewpoints with us. Thank you, Hussein Shobokshi, a columnist joining us there live from Jeddah. Thank you.